So I just want to throw this out there just real quick. It does not matter, but I mean, just to show you guys the type of media that I've been consuming. So I've been playing the game Still Wakes the Deep, which is pretty gnarly at times, but I've also read all of these in like the last week. I know it's the Southern Reach trilogy and Metamorphosis. So when it comes to like body horror and aliens and just weird stuff, it's just like this has been the week for it. You know how like when you walk out of a movie, you want to base your whole personality like from the character that's in it, like especially if it's like Batman or something like that. Well, that's what I want to do with Alien. Like I want to walk out of the theater and just be like the alien, like walk on my fucking fours and shit. I had my little alien popcorn bucket, which I actually brought with me to the theater, but I didn't eat popcorn out of it, which I'm pretty upset about. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty heartbroken about that, but I did get an extra large popcorn because it was a part of the refill. So Alien Romulus, I am going to be completely honest. When I first heard about this film, even with the director that was involved, I didn't have the craziest hopes for it, and the only reason why is because you get to a point to where it's like the 7th film in the franchise, and you start to wonder, okay, how much more can they do with it? Now, granted, it's happened before. I mean, if you look at the new Predator movie, Prey, terrific execution. I thought that film was awesome. It was such a good movie, and it was put on Hulu. That should have been a big screen film. Well, the fun fact about Alien Romulus was it was actually going to be a Hulu film as well. But I guess, I don't know if this is true or not, but after test screenings, they actually opted to put it out in theaters. So glad they did, because it is definitely a big screen experience, no doubt about it. But the director is Fede Alvarez, and he made Evil Dead 2013, which I thought was a pretty good film. Don't Breathe, which I thought was another pretty good film. I actually saw Don't Breathe in theaters when it first came out. And then he did Girl in the Dragon's Web or Spider's Web. I forget what it's called. And that one didn't do too well. I haven't seen it yet. I actually own it. And then now he's done Alien Romulus, which it seems like Fede Alvarez is the type of guy that they bring in for an original concept for an already existing franchise. That seems kind of like what they've been doing. And I think so far, I mean, he does a great job, except with Don't Breathe. You know, that wasn't an already existing franchise. I prefer to keep Don't Breathe where it's at, just kind of like where it is. I've seen Don't Breathe 2, and I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, Don't Breathe was pretty exceptional. And I need to rewatch Evil Dead. I actually put the 4K in my cart. It doesn't matter. I don't know what I'm getting at. Alien Romulus follows a group of young adults. They're definitely not teens, but young adults that are on this mining planet, and essentially they have to work and complete a number of hours so that way they can actually leave the planet. It's kind of a mandatory thing that people do. And they just want to get out. They just want to leave. And I think that's kind of a really big metaphor for kind of how people feel today, which I thought was a pretty nice addition. I'm not going to lie, for the film. I think it was very good premise, I think. Well, something happens where they have an opportunity to aboard this ship that is basically hovering over the planet, and after that, all hell breaks loose. I don't want to say anything. This is actually a very tricky film to talk about, because essentially you can talk about the first, I think, 15 minutes of the film, maybe the first 20-25, before you actually start to get into spoilers. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Now, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about the sound, the score, the cinematography, the direction, the performances. The performances were great. It stars Kaylee Spaney, and there's people in the cast that's been in stuff, but you haven't really seen him in a lot of stuff. Although I will say the guy, I forget what his name is, but the guy that played the android in the film, which that's not a spoiler, that was already made known, but he did an exceptional job, and I think he's going to be getting work. Like, he did a really good job. And the story, I liked it, and it went places that you're not going to expect. That's all I'm going to say. I can't talk about it. It goes there. Like, it seriously goes there. Like, there's a term that I want to use where even if I use the term, which is just a basic term, you could use it for this movie, you could use it for another movie, you could use it for another piece of media, I can't say it because it will then spoil things. Like, it's just the one phrase that I would say, it would just make your mind just a bunch of different things just all at once, to the point where you probably would think about what was going to end up happening. But it goes places. Like, it goes a few places that it worked for me personally, because, I mean, here's the thing. Here is the thing. I saw somewhere that somebody said that this was going to be very divisive, the third part of the film, basically, the last third. I mean, yeah, I think so to an extent. People are either going to like it or they're not. But the thing is, it gets to the point to where it's the 7th entry in the franchise, and I already have the first Alien movie. I love that film. I can watch it anytime I want, and guess what? I don't have to watch anything else afterwards, just like Aliens. Really like that film. I can watch it anytime I want, and I can stop there. I'm even an Alien 3 sympathizer, and I actually like Alien Covenant. Like, I don't think Alien Covenant was a bad film, nor do I think Prometheus was a bad film. So, when it gets to that 7th entry, I am completely fine with them trying new things. Like, seriously, you can try whatever you want at this point. Like, throw I was going to say throw aliens in space. Yeah, you get it. Whatever, it's a joke. But yeah, I'm glad that they took creative risk. I think Fede Alvarez, I'm not going to necessarily say he knew what he was doing, but I think his heart was in the right place when it came to the franchise, and he went for it. And that's one thing that I will say is I respect directors that go for it. Whether or not they stick the landing, you go for it, and I love that type of shit. And I think it worked. I think it worked, honestly. Yeah, it worked. And the cinematography was amazing. Some of the handheld shots in the film were just absolutely glorious. They were just fantastic. The cinematography was great. The practical effects were also extremely well done. The CGI was I mean, I can't lie about it. I don't want to lie about it. There is going to be one CGI portion where I don't think it's going to work for anybody. I mean, it might work for some people. I mean, it works in terms of the story, but it just, I can't get into it, but it was off. It was off. And I'm not the only person that said that. It was off. But the CGI, other than that, I mean, it's good. You know, I don't want to disregard the people that work on that, because I do think that there can be a healthy balance between CGI and practical effects. And the thing is that's not really a direction thing. Like, you can, like, as a director, you can imagine some of the greatest shit to put in your film, and it's still a good idea. It's just the execution at times. Like, I do think if more money could have been put into that, it would have been a lot better, but it was distracting. That's just what I'll say, but it worked. I'll go ahead and say it worked. The soundtrack was phenomenal. This soundtrack was probably, I would say, the best in the franchise, truthfully. Oh my gosh, the soundtrack was so fucking good. It was so good. I loved it. And the sound design was really good. I mean, there was nothing too crazy with the sound design. Like, everything was just sort of where it needed to be in context of the story. But then, of course, when things are escalated, you know, example with items and just stuff that's going on, it punched when it needed to punch. And that's about it. But I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I don't care. It's just how I feel. I think that this is my second favorite Alien film. I think the first one is still the king. My second favorite is Alien Romulus. My third favorite is Aliens. My fourth favorite is either, I think, Prometheus. I'll go with Prometheus. And then after that, probably Alien Covenant and Alien 3. Like, and then Alien Resurrection. Like, I enjoy all these films. And if you look at the directors for all of the films, they're all pretty good directors that just come in and just take the franchise over. Like, I think Alien Resurrection has some sort of redeemability to it. But yeah, and the reason why, like, I know it might be a little bit of a controversial take. It's like, oh, you've just seen the film and it's your second favorite. Well, here's the thing. Technically speaking, my favorite piece of alien media is Alien Isolation, the video game. It is, I think, a masterpiece in video game execution. It is so good. So I definitely prefer the more horror approach to the Alien franchise. So that's just kind of me. Like, I prefer that. So if you give me a really good, scary, horror-filled Alien film, I'm going to take that over an action-filled Alien film any day. Like, I'll even admit, Aliens is definitely a better made film, I think. I mean, James Cameron's an amazing director, and I love the direction that he took it, especially, you know, it being a sequel, and you just basically add an S to the name, and it's an action film. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was very well done. But it's just my personal opinion, you know, when it comes to Alien Romulus. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Let me know what you thought of Alien Romulus. No spoilers down in the comments below. Also, if you guys want to check out my filmography, you definitely can. I've been pumping out short films. You can check out my link tree. You can also log my stuff on Letterboxd. I'm also looking to meet new filmmakers. It'd mean the world to me if you check my stuff out. But anyway, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.